Hello again. So in this video, we're gonna continue factoring and take a look at some more factoring problems, okay? So take a look at this one, 2k squared minus 5k plus 2. Go ahead and try it first, and then you can unpause the video and watch the solution. So what we're gonna do out here is we're gonna take the first two, we're gonna multiply them together. So that's gonna give me, oops, 2 times 2, which is 4. And factors of 4, I'm looking for factors of 4 that are going to make a negative 5. Well, if I take 4 times 1 and I put a negative, I make them both negative, then they add up to negative 5. So that's what I'm going to choose. So that becomes 2k squared minus 4k minus k plus 2. Now I'm going to group them. So 2k squared minus 4k. And then because of the negative sign, the sign of the 2 is going to flip when I put it in parentheses. So k minus 2. Now I'm going to pull out common factors. So for the first one, I pull out 2k, which leaves behind k, and the second one I get 2. And for the second one, I can't pull out anything, so I have to pull out 1. So whenever you cannot pull out anything, you don't see any common factors, you need to know that it's just 1. Okay. So again, since these two match, we're on the right track. So k minus 2 written once, and then the rest is in the second parentheses, 2k minus 1. All right, let's try another one. Let's say you're given 3r squared plus 11r minus 4. Pause the video, try it, and then come back and watch the solution. So what we're going to do out here, we're going to multiply the 3 with the 4, which is going to give me 12, and the two factors are 12 and 1. So if I take 12 and I subtract 1 from it, I get 11, right? So that's what I'm going to do. 3r squared plus 12r minus r minus 4. Okay, so now I'm going to group them. So 3r squared plus 12r, first parentheses. Second parentheses, again, watch the negative. That's going to flip the sign of the 4. R plus 4. Then I pull out 3r common, leaves behind r, plus 12r divided by 3r leaves behind 4. Again, nothing common to r and 4, so you pull 1 out. Those two match, so we're on the right track. So I'm going to write it as r plus 4 times 3r minus 1. Okay? All right. Now let's take a look at a factoring problem that's a little different from this one, okay? So we have n squared minus 64. And you're asked to factor this problem. Okay, so there's a few different ways you can factor it, but what we can do is we'll just go about it the regular way and then show you a shortcut to this kind of a problem. So there are two things to notice out here. Thing number one, there is no bx term. Okay, there's no bx term. And the second thing to notice, I'll put that in green out here. Okay, the second thing we notice is that the first and the second terms, so the terms are perfect squares. All right, so we're going to use this later on to identify a shorter way of doing it. So right now we're just going to keep those two in the back of our head and try to do this, understand the usual way. So since there's no bx term, what we're going to do out here is we'll just introduce a bx term, but we're just going to make it n squared plus 0 x minus 64, okay? Because if we add 0, then this whole term vanishes, okay? Now, let's go about it the usual way. So we take the A and the C, multiply them together, I get 64. And the factors of 64 that can give me 0 is going to be 8 and 8. So one's going to be positive, the other's negative, and that's going to give me 0. Okay, let's do that. N squared plus 8x minus 64. Now let's group them. N squared plus 8x, group 1, minus, because of the negative sign, you got to flip that sign, 8x plus 64. Okay, and then I'm going to pull out, sorry, why did I put x out here? This should be n. I was wondering what happened to that. Okay, so n, 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 n. Okay, now I'm going to pull out n, so that's n plus 8, minus pull out 8 from the next one, so that's n plus 8 left. See how they both match? So I'm going to write n plus 8 first, and then n minus 8. All right, so there you have it. That's the solution. Okay, now it turns out, notice carefully, if you look at this, the initial expression, if you take the square root of the n squared, that gives you what? Let me go ahead and write this down here. Let's copy that expression. Okay, if I take the square root of n squared, that gives me n. And if I take the square root of 64, that gives me 8. So whenever you see two squares, two complete squares, okay, and there's a minus sign in between them, then you're dealing with a special case, okay? And the special case, the special case is called difference of squares, okay? So this difference of squares, you can, without going through all this, you can immediately break this down into n minus 8 times n plus 8. There you have it, okay? So let's go ahead and try another one. 25x squared minus 1. Go ahead and pause the video and try it, and then I'll show you how to do it. All right, so this one, as you can see, well, the square root of that is going to be 5x, right? And the square root of 1 is 1. And because there's a negative sign between them, this is a difference of squares, right? So that's going to be 5x minus 1 times 5x plus 1. And there you have it. All right. Thank you for watching. I will talk to you in the next video.